Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the November 25th, 2025 meeting of the Town of Chatham Select Board. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, including the use of AI note-taking apps, please notify the chair. Seeing none. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 28, 2025 signing of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, until June 30, 2027, this meeting of the Chatham Select Board is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 203-386-491#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Xfinity Channel 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. First order of business is to ensure quorum. Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Dykens?
Present.
Mr. Metters?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
And the chair is present. We have a fairly busy agenda tonight, so we'll move right into it with the first item of business being approval of minutes of the meeting of November 18th, 2025. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any corrections? The chair has several. On page 8, under item C, the first sentence, I would like to insert the following sentence as the second sentence after the word "the years," period. He noted that, comma, while he has historically opposed housing on this property, comma, town meeting directed such in 2023. I'll read that again. He noted that, while he has historically opposed housing on this property, town meeting directed such in 2023. Then on page 13, the third paragraph from the bottom, in the second line where it says consent agenda item placement, I want to insert a comma and the following clause, which would be brought back to the board, comma. Which would be brought back to the board. You have that, Kathy? And then on page 15, Kathy, on the committee appointment to the Open Space Committee, wasn't the appointment for June 30th, 2026? We have 2028. I thought that we were filling an unexpired term.
It was the resignation of a member.
Cooper?
And the term was through 2020.
2028. Okay, that's fine. Additionally, I had brought a couple of substantive corrections to Kathy's attention, and she has made them. I'm going to offer them as corrections if she'll read them. I don't have them in front of me.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. On page 10 at the bottom, the last sentence that carries on to the next page, will be edited to read, he stated that he can look further into that case and return a memo regarding the creation of a public trust should the board request. So the edits are changing the word will to can and adding the clause should the board request.
I think that is the reflection of what has actually occurred, and you watched the video.
Correct, I watched back.
I would
and
propose
checked.
that as a correction. I have no other corrections. You have no others? I'll call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, so the minutes are approved. Public announcements and agenda item requests. Are there any from the board? Yes, Mr. Dykens.
Thank you, Dean. I just wanted to recognize and acknowledge the hard work of the ZBA and their considerations of the Penrose 40B project. They worked months with very, very much due diligence So I want to thank their efforts to all the members of the ZBA. I want to mention most notably the leadership of Randy Potash, who really did a remarkably good job during the course of those deliberations. So I'd just like to comment, to thank them and acknowledge their hard work.
Thank you. I would echo that compliment as well, however much I feel about the outcome. Any public announcements or agenda item requests from the audience online? The chair has 3. First, I want to acknowledge that we have received an appeal from the owners of the Monomoy Theater property from the recent decision of the Historic Business District Commission denying their request to demolish the theater building. We will schedule this for a public hearing and an appeal on December 16th. That's the tentative date, and the board will arrange for a site visit, and we will proceed accordingly with the advice of counsel. Secondly, I want to acknowledge that December 3rd at 6:30 p.m., we will have a special meeting of the Select Board next week to consider the recommendations of the Town Manager's Working Group on the Center for Active Living project. So we will have 2 meetings next week. And finally, I wish to acknowledge that subsequent to last week's discussion with Town Council on Old Harbor Road, 127 Old Harbor Road, we did receive some further information from Town Council with his take on a particular case. And Town Manager and I have decided to make that public in the interest of being transparent. That is being posted to the website on the page that contains the opinions of Town Council. With that, we will now proceed to a public hearing to consider the application for a new seasonal all-alcoholic beverages restaurant license for Diana's Kitchen and Bar, LLC, doing business as Diana's Kitchen and Bar, Jody Ann K. Grant, manager for the establishment at 643 Main Street. And I'll ask the board's clerk to read, the town clerk is your better half, to read the public hearing notice.
Thanks for that clarification. Dean, Town of Chatham Select Board, public hearing notice. Notice is hereby given that the Chatham Select Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. in the large meeting room at the Town Office Annex, 261 George Ryder Road, Chatham, and remotely via Microsoft Teams platform to consider a request for a new seasonal all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license for Diana Kitchen and Bar, LLC, doing business as Diana's Kitchen and Bar 643 Main Street, Jody Ann K. Grant, manager. The public is welcome to attend the meeting in person or participate via the link in the meeting's posted agenda.
Thank you, Stuart. So we'll open the hearing. I understand the attorney representing the applicant is present. Yes, could you please come to the podium and identify yourself? One of those. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Melanie O'Keefe, the attorney for the applicant on behalf of Diana's Kitchen and Bar, LLC, and Jody, the proposed manager, is also with me today.
Would you like to make any comments about this? And then we'll have any questions or comments from the board or the public.
No, just that excuse me, sorry, can't read my own writing. The applicant intends to be a friendly neighborhood spot, serving up satisfying meals and craft cocktails, wines and beers. The food and atmosphere is going to be that of a retro Caribbean vibe, and we're happy to field any questions about any more specifics about the restaurant.
Is this going to be open for dinner and lunch or both?
Is it dinner and lunch, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it would be open for dinner and lunch.
Dinner and lunch. Are there any, this is Ms. Grant, I assume?
Yes.
Or Ms. Grant. Welcome. Any questions or comments from the board?
It's 643 Main Street, where's that?
That's what used to be Sandy's Diner originally.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then
Most recently,
then it was
10 yen, I
Lily's.
think.
And then for a short period of time this summer, it was
Namazu.
Ramazoo.
Yes.
So Any questions?
I assume we have enough seasonal all alcohol licenses available?
There is no limit on seasonal all alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Okay.
Okay, it's a public hearing. Any comments or questions from the public? None in the room, none online. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the application?
Is there a
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Call the roll. Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Dykens.
Aye.
Mr. Metters.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
We have a consent agenda, but there are no items for the consent agenda tonight. We have next public comments on the business agenda. Anyone who wants to make a comment at this time as opposed to contemporaneous comment would be permitted to do so. Seeing none, we'll go right on to the business agenda. We have 5 special one-day alcohol licenses, all related to the upcoming holiday stroll on just the weekend of December 12th. First is for Hey, Joe and Jam, December 31st, 2025, from 12 o'clock noon to, it says, 1 o'clock a.m. January 1st, 2026, at 16 Sequoia Road, West Chatham. And welcome. I've seen you before, Heather Higgins. Would you like to comment on this? I understand you're proposing to amend the time.
I am proposing 6 PM till 10 PM.
Okay. And 10 p.m., Kathy, is the time we have slotted for other.
Correct. That
Enterprises.
to date is the latest that you have given, and Chief
Okay.
Anderson has also agreed that that time is a good time.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
So Dean, this is for New Year's Eve.
Correct.
Yes, this is New Year's Eve, so looks to be in order.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. You have it,
Thank
thank
you
you. Next is Bon Matin, December 12th, 2025, from 3 o'clock PM to 8 o'clock PM at 610 Main Street, Chatham. And this requires a waiver of the 30-day application submission. So
Maureen Finnerty is online, I
Maureen
believe.
Finnerty is online. Ms. Finnerty?
Yes, I am.
Did you want to say anything about this?
Well, no, I guess we just wanted to serve like Prosecco and champagne and gourmet Christmas cookies to our customers just for the evening of the tree lighting.
Okay. So this looks to be in order as well. Is there any comments or questions from
Move
the board?
approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. It's been approved. Good luck. Next,
Thank you.
Chatham Kids, December 7th, 2025, from 2 o'clock PM to 5 o'clock PM at 534 Main Street, Chatham. Requires waiver of a 30-day application submission. We approved the waiver in the last, I would state that for the record, the one we just did as well. Welcome. Emma Carroll?
Lori Gilmore, representing.
Okay. Any comments that you'd like to make about your application?
No additional comments.
This is the one for Chatham Kids, so any comments or questions from the board? Now, the waiver application is for both this one and the next one coming up, or just this one?
Just this one, because the date that the applications were received, the December 7th application was within 30 days, but when the second one for December 19th was received, it was outside
That
of the
was
30
timely.
days, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion? Mr. Dykens?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move to waive the 30-day application requirement and grant a special one-day alcohol license for wine and malt beverages only to Emma Carroll at Chatham Kids on December 7th, 2025, from 2 to 5 p.m. at 584 Main Street, Chatham.
Okay, is there a second?
Do you want to just add,
Do the-
Chip, the other one, the
Yeah,
other
Well, we can
application?
take, we want to add the other one? Well,
It's
then we'll-
yeah,
we'll
I
just
think it's more,
acknowledge that
It's the same
it's
folks.
the
It's-
same,
But it is the clothing bar.
same proprietor, Chatham Clothing Bar, December 19th, 2025, from 4 o'clock PM to 7 o'clock PM at 584 Main Street, Chatham. So we'll include that in the motion.
530 more Main Street, yes, so moved.
second.
Moved and seconded as to both. Any discussion? Call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, you have both of them. Good luck.
Thank you.
The last one is Puritan Cape Cod, December 19th, 2025, from 4 o'clock PM to 7 o'clock PM at 573 Main Street, Chatham. This requires a waiver of the 30-day application submission. Megan Penn here.
I believe she's online.
I'm actually, in for Megan Penn. My name is Andrea MacArthur. I'm from Puritan, Cape Cod.
Okay. Anything you'd like to
And-
add to your submission?
No, just that we're just trying to get a special license for a beer tasting, that we're doing an event with the Chatham Clothing Bar on December 19th from 4 to 7. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, questions from the board, or is there a motion?
I move to waive the 30-day application requirement and grant a special one-day alcohol license for wine and malt beverages only to Megan Penn of Puritan, Cape Cod on December 19th, 2025, from 4 to 7 p.m. at 573 Main Street, Chatham. It is men's night out.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, you have it. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item is Cape and Islands Municipal Leaders Association, KIMLA, a presentation, which will be made by the president, Mark Forrest. This was requested by Select Board member Shireen Davis, so I'm going to turn to Shireen and ask
Okay.
you to make
Sure.
the introductions.
So-
Welcome.
I'd like to introduce Mark Forrest, a longtime public servant and current member of the Yarmouth Select Board and Barnstable County Commissioners. He's the president of the Cape and Islands Municipal Leaders Association. Mark brings decades of experience in regional policy, coastal management, and community collaboration. We welcome him today as the KIMLA leader. We don't know how to do the acronym yet. I appreciate Mark's commitment to strengthening partnership. Also welcome Kevin Galligan. He's the past president of the organization and also on the board, of which I serve as well. Welcome.
I would just note for the record that Shireen is a past president of this organization as well.
Yes.
Welcome, both of you. Mr. Forrest, all yours.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I want to commend you on the conduct of your meetings. I wish our meetings in Yarmouth could move as briskly as yours and as efficiently. I'll be very brief. Kevin and I really wanted to have an opportunity to speak with you tonight to tell you a little bit more about some of the work that we're doing at the Cape and Islands Municipal Leaders Association. We've been obviously incredibly busy for quite some time, but in recent months, we've been very, very busy on trying to put a spotlight on some of the more pressing issues affecting Cape Cod. In the handout that I've given you, provide some brief background. It's an association that represents 22 municipalities. We do our best to really make sure that when we're presenting issues to state and federal officials, that we make sure that we get the Cape and the islands to try to speak with one voice on many of these concerns. And we have well over 105 elected officials, or we have well over 105 members and 105 elected officials. I know several of you have been to our meetings. Our meetings in Chatham have always been very robust in terms of participation. And we often look to our membership and for ideas on issues and concerns that we ought to address. I would say Kevin and I have spent a great deal of time on wastewater and wastewater funding. Kevin also chairs the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund. So with his involvement and my involvement at the county, we've been really working, I think, extra hard at making sure that resources are available for our towns in terms of addressing wastewater and particularly funding. At the county, we've been very aggressive in expanding the role of the Aqua Fund. And obviously, with the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund, there's been important work in sort of strengthening the fund. And a lot of the input for these initiatives and others has really come from members of our association. As you can see on the list, we've spent some time focused. In fact, we touch on this subject quite regularly, and that is the issue of the bridge replacement project over the canal. I thought we had a very productive discussion at the Cape Summit, the One Cape Summit that was prepared and sort of run by the Cape Cod Commission, focused on wastewater and how we're doing with the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund. Some of you may be aware that other towns are catching up. Here in Chatham, you've made enormous progress on wastewater, but other towns are beginning to catch up. And the demand on the fund is significant and growing. And so we received an update from Cape Cod Commission staff on the strength of the fund and its ability to meet what we anticipate will be some significant obligations in the coming years ahead. We had a very productive meeting in October on the seasonal communities regulations and how they're progressing. The Cape and Islands delegation has really worked hard on making sure that there's a seasonal communities provision in the Affordable Housing Act. And they've been putting pressure on the administration to come up with regulations and have them completed by the end of this year. And so they keep in regular touch with us on the work that they're doing there. Our last meeting was quite an interesting one. Joint Base Cape Cod. As many of you know, there's an enormous Coast Guard presence at Joint Base Cape Cod. And for those of you, Chatham is very familiar, obviously, with the work of the Coast Guard. And Joint Base Cape Cod, the air station, provides important support to our Coast Guard personnel here in the region. So there is an effort underway, largely led by our association, to work with the Commonwealth to strengthen the long-term viability of the installation. So we had a briefing and an update by all the players involved in that initiative. Our next meeting is going to be on December 12th in Dennis at Ardeo Restaurant. Our meetings are all in the morning, 7:30, Friday mornings, the second Friday of every month. And I encourage you, if you haven't been to a meeting, and by the way, Jill, they're open to town managers. Mm-hmm. We love seeing managers attend our meetings. Our managers provide a very unique perspective on the management of our communities, as well as some of the issues that we should have on our radar screen. So I know you've been to our meetings in the past, and we'd love to see you, particularly on this one that's coming up in December. We're going to be inviting the superintendents in from around the Cape to talk about school challenges, but also to provide an update on what's happening with enrollments. As you know, enrollments are declining in many communities, yet some communities are facing pressures to build new facilities. So we need to have a conversation about that and looking ahead. And then this has become sort of an annual ritual, and it's become a favorite for many of our members, and that's a lunch with the Lieutenant Governor, or a meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. And we started this with Shireen when she was on board as our president, and it's a tradition that the Lieutenant Governor, quite frankly, she enjoys, and we'll have plenty on our agenda, you know, when we meet with her at the Mass Municipal Association. So if you're attending MMA at the annual convention, by all means, feel free to join us on Friday, the 23rd. That's the game plan there. I'm going to just give Kevin a chance to just add a few comments, and then what I'd like to do is have a conversation with you. And I think we're particularly interested in if there's anything that we're working on that you might have questions about, or if there's some new initiatives or things that you think we should really keep on our radar screen. Like I said, we want to make sure that our association is attentive to the concerns and issues that all of our municipal officials are wrestling with. So, Kevin?
Thank you, Mark, and great to see all of you. This is our second, quote, dog and pony show. We're, trying to get the word out more. Actually, Shireen suggested this many years ago, and we're finally doing it. But only thing I would add, too, is as you look at the meetings that we hold, whether it be, the September one, the October, we try to rotate in terms of region. So you can see Lower Cape, Upper Cape. We're trying to make sure that the in-person opportunity provides, a mix in terms of letting people come. But the also thing, we work very hard on technology. You guys have it solid in this community, just watching your meeting proceed, and compliments to a very efficient meeting. But we also have a Zoom option for those that might not be able to travel because of a busy Friday morning. But I just, again, really encourage more participation. All of you are welcome to, as Mark said, submit ideas to us. We tend to have a little bit of power, if you will, when we say to invited speakers, the organization would like you to come and speak. And it really does matter a little bit when they see that they can be talking to a region, not just one-offs, to come to select boards. And we take, that also seriously, because sometimes they say, a support letter would be helpful. And when we went through the offshore exploration of wind opportunities that Bureau of Ocean Energy Management was looking, we actually put in some very substantive comment and concerns and got it on the record. So we actually can be a little force to be reckoned with.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for the presentations. I think all of us understand and appreciate the importance of this organization. I think all types of peer organizations are really very effective. And I know Shireen has probably been the most religious in terms of attendance, but I know we try to get there when we can. So I'm going to ask if anyone on the board has any comments or questions along the lines that Mark was inquiring about. Do we have any items we'd like to see pursued or get more attention? Stuart.
Good afternoon, Mark. The Joint Base Cape Cod Master Plan, working with the Coast Guard, that has to do, I assume, was more of a question, specifically with Joint Base Cape Cod as opposed to filtering into the stations around the Cape, or is it?
Yeah, I can understand the concern about the stations. I think that's something that we all have to keep on our radar screens. And I know here in Chatham, we have to be very concerned about the future of Coast Guard Station Chatham. Over the years, I've spent, as you may recall, I've spent a lot of time on making sure that that station could be fully staffed and fully manned. And we've had problems, and I think it's just something to be aware of. With respect to the base itself, I think what we're trying to do is make sure that all of the military operations at the installation are able to fulfill their missions, and they have sufficient real estate and infrastructure in order to do that. Some of the facilities, some of the infrastructure there is shared by the surrounding communities. So particularly the Upper Cape communities utilize and have the potential to utilize even more of the facilities that are there. I'm speaking specifically to the use of their solid waste transfer station over the years. That was done as a joint enterprise involving the towns and the military, and that served the region well. We're talking about a regional composting facility that will start initially with the 4 Upper Cape towns, but eventually like to expand it to other communities that might be interested. And that's an area of importance. Several towns are interested. Time-wise, the timing is different, but towns are interested in the wastewater treatment plant that's at the installation. It was built to handle a significantly larger capacity, and it's underutilized. Who would have thought that we'd have a wastewater treatment plant on Cape Cod that's underutilized? But that's one that is, and so it's in our collective interest to make sure that that's working well and it's properly managed. What we're learning is that there's enormous pressure within the Pentagon to sort of shrink infrastructure and to shrink military assets. We had a base realignment commission meet and deliberate and propose the closure of the Otis Air National Guard base. Is that? Okay. Okay, sorry. The Otis Air National Guard base back in 2005, and the region came together to help save the installation, and that would have impacted adversely Coast Guard. So what we want to be able to do is just focus on the installations that are there on Joint Base Cape Cod, the military missions that are there, the activities and operations that are shared by both the military, the Coast Guard, and the towns, and to make sure that we can look ahead to find out ways in which maybe there are other things that we can do to help benefit not only the base and its long-term survival and viability, but also the communities as well.
Great. Also, has the Municipal Leaders Association, has the subject of dredging gotten to their discussion level? No.
It comes up all the time.
Oh, it does come up.
Yeah,
Good.
I think one of the things that we're concerned about, obviously, is sustained federal and state funding for dredging activities. So we're very concerned about sustaining dredging in the state budget. And
Yeah.
I suspect that in short order, we'll be weighing in. I know the county commissioners have already weighed in, calling on the governor to make sure that in the upcoming budget deliberations that there's sufficient dredging funds. But it's also an issue we have to keep on at the federal level as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a vitally, I mean, speaking to the choir here, but that's a vitally important program that affects all of the Cape and Islands. My understanding in a meeting I had this morning that Governor Healy is proposing cutting those dredging funds. And we need to react to that. And it's a good regional approach, I think.
Well, like I said, the county commissioners have already written a strong letter. I'll be sharing that letter with the members of our association when we meet at our next meeting, and I'll be calling for a vote to weigh in support of continued funding for dredging in the budget. We've already had some discussions with the legislators, so they're aware of it. It's on our radar screen. It first came up at one of the dredge advisory committee meetings, so it's clearly a priority. It's on our radar screen. And I think we will continue to advocate for it. Thanks for bringing
I would
it
assume
up.
that it's important that not only the county, but the individual communities that utilize the dredge program probably write a letter as well, advocating for those funds, because it could be a big,
Yeah, we'll certainly be asking all of our communities to be weighing in on this. It's important. And the time is right now, because we expect the budget to be coming out relatively soon. And we want to make sure that there's adequate funding there.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Corey?
No, I actually, what I was going to say is, well, I've attended, meetings over the years, some years more, some years less. It's a great organization. Some attendance is really wonderful. I appreciate the fact that you relocate geographically here and there. You can tell certain locations draw bigger crowds, some have a lighter crowd, but I think it's wonderful that you do that. The thing I was going to mention, you actually just mentioned a little while ago, is the composting potential for more communities down the road. I don't recall when the initial presentation was earlier this year, on 28th in June. June, okay. The presenter was wonderful. She spoke wonderfully. I know at the moment it's kind of limited to 4 communities, but I definitely want to keep that on our radar as that progresses, what opportunities other communities like Chatham may or may not have down the future. But I do think that particular presenter was fabulous, and how she presented everything, and she had everything spot on. And it's something I definitely want to keep on our radar and have you guys keep on your radar so we can, keep tabs on that.
The woman that spoke was Carrie Purcell, and she does an outstanding job for the county.
Wonderful.
And our focus at the moment is to get the Joint Base Cape Cod initiative underway, but then we need to expand from that. I mean, Barnstable County, the county government serves all of our 15 communities. And so we think, though, that by getting that pilot project off the ground, that it will basically lead the way and stimulate a lot of interest so that we can get a volume of composting material that can help better make it work economically long-term.
Agreed.
Jeff, and then Shireen.
Yeah, welcome, Mark and Kevin. Good to see you guys. I've attended a few of your sessions. They're great. There is strength in the organization for advocacy. I saw what you did with the offshore wind. I thought that was excellent. That was an excellent meeting down in Eastham. The information on seasonal communities was excellent. I think the organization's focusing on the right things: water, wastewater, education, housing. I mean, you're hitting all the high points. So I think you guys are doing a great job. I really appreciate your comments about dredging and the inquiry by Stuart. It's very important, obviously, to the town of Chatham that we continue to have very active dredging here for not only for Stage Harbor, but in Chatham Harbor as well, and Mill Creek, et cetera, et cetera. So we have constantly shifting sands here, and it's a major issue for our town. So any kind of advocacy that you can continue to pursue there is really appreciated on the part of Chatham. Fascinated by regional composting. That's actually the first time I've heard of it, but I'm fascinated by that. Which are the 4 towns that are involved in the pilot project?
First of all, it's the military.
It's the
because they have their own waste stream that they need to manage, but also the other 4 Upper Cape towns. Falmouth and Bourne are incredibly active, and we're very fortunate to have a very active and dedicated solid waste committee in those two towns, and they attend all our meetings, and have been very active participants. Sandwich and Mashpee are the other two communities. Now, getting back to the dredging, I would say that I appreciate your appointing Stuart to serve on our Dredge Advisory Committee, because
There you go.
it's this committee that keeps the county officials, and it trickles over to the Cape and Islands Municipal Leaders Association. It really helps us keep abreast. I mean, we heard about the potential cuts looming in the next state budget from our harbor masters.
Good, keep on it, please.
Shireen.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming. This is a question, because, Mark, you wear a lot of different hats, and we had a conversation today. And I know this is of particular interest to Jeff. He brought up some of the issues we're having with repairing one of the herring runs over in Riders Cove. And you've been working with the Conservation District, correct? Is that the correct term?
That is correct.
Can you tell the board about some of the funding that's available, or background?
As Shireen mentioned, I do wear multiple hats. The hat that I wore once I left Washington, D.C., when I came back to Cape Cod, the hat that I put on was the chairman of the Cape Cod Conservation District. The Cape Cod Conservation District has been in existence for years. And what we do is we are able to secure federal funds to do high-priority local environmental restoration projects. We're very active in providing funds to local communities for fish ladder projects. And as a high priority on our list is the culvert that has been collapsing at Riders Cove. And it's collapsed. Yeah, we think it probably could collapse even further, but I don't want to make any predictions. The reality is that's one of our priorities on our Cape-wide Water Resources Restoration Project. This project is a specifically congressionally authorized program goes back to the days of Congressman Studs and Congressman Delahunt. And because I was sort of married to it when I served on the congressional staff, when I decided to retire, I figured I'd get involved in it, and so now I find myself being the chairman of the group and we've raised almost $100 million over the past 10 years for projects all across Cape Cod. You might have read in the Chronicle something about the Cold Brook restoration project. We were very involved in the beginning to help sort of get that project sort of conceptualized. We provided funding and technical assistance for that one. This Riders Cove culvert is very, very important to us. It has an incredible history, and it's probably one of the most important, as you well know, fish runs, here in Chatham and on the Cape. We've been meeting because it's eligible for funding in our program. We've been telling the Mass Department of Transportation that we have money that we want to spend with you on your culvert that's collapsing or getting worse. And we need to take care of it. And so we've been meeting with Mass DOT. They have not made it the kind of priority that we would like to see them make it. So your liaison to our group is Bob Duncanson. And as we all know, Bob is encyclopedic on these things, and I think he's represented the town incredibly well. We've invited Bob to sit on some of our meetings with Mass DOT because we're trying to really appeal to them to set aside funding and take a more active interest in this. We've been meeting and talking lately to our legislators, our state reps. So you should just be aware that this is not only a priority of the district, but it's become a priority of the region and our legislators. And I will be coming back to you in the very near future asking you to help with a letter of support. I think one of the things that we need to do, and again, if we can speak with one voice as a region, I think this will be important. But I think we need to do more to set aside funds to deal with these state-owned culverts. So many of them are critical in terms of what they provide for fish passages, in our communities. Riders Cove is just one, but we have dozens of others. You may have read that the state established a culvert program, a culvert repair and improvement program. But what you don't read in the fine print is that most of those funds are not going to come to Cape Cod because they're dealing with other parts of the Commonwealth. So we need to work a little bit harder with our legislators to make sure that we get the kind of funds that this program ought to be providing Cape Cod. So we'll be working on that.
Well,
And,
that's great news, thank you. That's good, thank you very
I
much.
see our Director of Natural Resources, Greg Berman, is coming to the podium on this topic, I gather.
Yes, please, just wanted to fill in. At the, within your town manager's monthly report, under coastal resources, we do have a section for all our NRCS-funded projects. The Herring Run is one of those. It's going through design permit. We also have been trying to get DOT involved. It's not necessarily very easy. And in addition to what's in the monthly report, we did hear loud and clear that you would like an more robust, potentially a memo having to do with the herring warden, having to do with the herring run, the timelines for that particular project. So that will be upcoming to you sometime in the next week or two.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from other board members? I just wanted to ask about the December 12th upcoming meeting on what's the format of that? Are you going to have speakers? I know you invited the superintendents. I think it's really very timely that you're doing this.
I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. You want
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I invited, starting with the Nauset Systems brand-new superintendent, try to get them early and often, and he said yes. He actually did round up 3 other superintendents, so it'll be a pretty robust presentation. It will include PowerPoint, but the whole overall look is their perspective on the future of education on the Cape and Islands, including the enrollment numbers. But as you know, I mean, education is so core to all of our communities, and you can see it in the superintendents when they are beginning to roll out budgets, and they really do have a knowledge base that is so close to every program, curriculum, and the direction. And it's time to share that with us, well in advance of the budget being dropped on the time when we have to vote. So this is one of the things we tried to, within the feedback that we received on programs for the regional group, is to get early info to better inform our actions that we take to be, better supporting education. So I think it's going to be awesome.
I think it's great because with the enrollment trends, it's as though each district is competing with one another. And I think we should, as a community on the Cape, try to be more collaborative because the ultimate goal is the best quality education for our kids.
Exactly.
And we need to try to do it in the most efficient, cost-effective manner. Mark, did you have something?
Yeah, I
you wanted
wanted to add something to this. I think one of the reasons why I'm very interested in this topic is because the state has its own enrollment projections and its own enrollment numbers, and I'm not necessarily convinced that their numbers jibe with the numbers that we have at the Cape Cod Commission or with some of the other groups that have been doing studies. As I'm sure you're aware, there are a number of organizations that have been doing studies on housing here on Cape Cod, and quite frankly, it would be important to reconcile the state's numbers and look at them in comparison with some of the numbers here on the county. I know in Yarmouth, we've begun to start looking at enrollment projections, and the numbers that the state has, which they are the ones that push onto the local school districts, their numbers don't necessarily jibe with what's been available at the Cape Cod Commission in terms of housing and some of the other background information that they utilize to make these projections. So I think our information is much more accurate and much more up to date than maybe what the state is presenting to our school districts. So I think it's time we have a conversation, and if we all have different numbers, I know that in my community of Yarmouth, if our community has one set of enrollment numbers that many people have confidence in, but the state's insisting that we make investments in facilities that are based on numbers that we don't necessarily agree with, that kind of project is not going to go too far. So we need to have a conversation now on not only their challenges, but in particularly on enrollments and making sure that we're all on the same page.
Well, I think it's.
I just want to
Go
note
ahead.
too, that the town managers, the Cape managers are going to get together with the Cape superintendents as well in December. And we also wanted to expand the conversation about what each town is offering for pre-K support as well. So I'll report back after that.
That's great. I'm glad that at both levels that this initiative is being undertaken. It's really important. And we have issues and challenges with just within our district with our neighboring sister town of Harwich. I also think it's a good thing that you're continuing the lieutenant governor's lunch. We've been very fortunate, I think, both with the current lieutenant governor and her immediate predecessor. They both had backgrounds in municipal government, and I think that's been really good. I did want to ask a kind of a personal question to Mr. Forrest. When you were on the congressional staff, was that with Billy Delahunt or Jerry Stubbs?
I'm a lot older than I look. I worked in the Congress for 26 years, and I started with Congressman Stubbs. He recruited me out of the town manager's office in Provincetown. So my start was in local government. So I started with him, and then I continued on with Congressman Delahunt and became his chief of staff.
I knew Billy Delahunt. I'm from Quincy. I knew Billy Delahunt, and he was a ward counselor, so I'll go back a ways. Well, unless there's anything else, we really thank you for coming and taking the time. We appreciate. Good luck with the rest of your road show.
To be continued.
Yes. We'll see you.
Thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.
too.
Next item on the agenda is the Eldridge Public Library Site Master Plan. We have a project update. Jill, did you want to take this and turf it over to whomever?
Sure. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. As we noted in the staff report, it's been some time since there's been an update provided to the Select Board following the October 2023 tree hearing project. The staff report outlines the funding that is available for the project that was approved back in 2021. So tonight we have Terry Whalen, who's our Projects and Operations Administrator, who can tee it off. And in the audience, I'm happy to see our Library Director, as well as the Chair for the Library Trustees, or Board of Trustees, of various trustees that are present. Online, it seems that we do have our consultants. We have Sean Riley of Ty and Bond, as well as Jay Olmsted at Olmsted Design. So Terry, if you could.
Yeah, and just real quickly for a little bit of context before I turn it over to Jay and Sean. And again, this project's got a long arc with going back even to COVID when we bundled projects and moved them around. Part of a earlier funding article. We have been working on this for a bit here. We have been also working closely with the library director on some revisions of late in the past probably year and a half here on improving opportunities for programming on the site as well. So we've been tweaking the plans a bit, again, I know Greg was talking about monthly reports, in the monthly report, you see kind of the status, but you haven't really seen graphics in quite a while. And there's been some refinements to some other components, the wall in the front, and the project has also somewhat expanded in scope from the perspective of the original plan was to run this project concurrently or coincident with other projects that we had along both Main Street and Library Lane. So with those projects taking different directions, different sidewalk work, and also Library Lane repaving, that is now all part of this one comprehensive project. So we figured, before we're closing in on hoping to go out to bid soon for spring construction. So just wanted to give everybody an update because it's been some time since there's been, a public presentation on the scope and look of the project. So it hasn't changed really substantially, with still the same primary functions, design functions that were design objectives of really increasing the ADA accessibility, general overall accessibility, blending into the, again, both the road work with the sidewalks and repaving of Library Lane. There's a rework of the parking lot in the back and lots of other elements. So with that, though, I think I'll turn it over to Jay and Sean to take us through the elements of the design. And then if you have any questions, Rob Faley is also here to talk about available for any questions on phasing or the construction sequencing with doing this project as laid out in the staff report, and, potential to make everybody aware of potential, street closings, sidewalk closures with doing this project all in one project now. So with that, I'll turn it over. I'm looking the wrong way. Look at Rob. And Jay and Sean.
Great. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jay Olmsted, and then next to me there is Sean Riley, which many of you know as well. We've been working on this project for about 6 years, but getting close to a point where we can put it out to public bid. And Terry, are you able to put up the rendered site plan? And we can just quickly talk to that and show that graphic. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go through the quick summary of the project, and Sean will chime in as well. And I'm gonna move on this page from left to right, which is going from Main Street up through the library to the back parking lot. So as we had before, along Main Street, we're going to be widening the sidewalk to 6 feet in that area and adding a seat wall, a brick seat wall with a granite capstone along Main Street with a bump out, which is being circled right there. That bump out will be a plaza, which will be flush with the sidewalk and it has a place for the current monument that's sitting in front of the library now, which you have to take stairs to get up to, and this way it will be accessible. And then we're going to replace the circular walkway that's in front of the library. And starting with where that arrow went, there's an ADA, we're going to make an ADA accessible route, which starts at the southern end right there, and it ramps up to next to the stairs that go up to the front of the library, and then makes a jog along the side of the library, bringing you to the entrance that's on Library Lane. And that will all be an accessible route. And then from there, going back quickly, we'll have a sidewalk which takes you back to the back parking lot now, Terry. We'll have a sidewalk along Library Lane, which we'll repair and replace back to the back parking lot area. It will have the same number of parking spaces as it has now. We have reconfigured it to allow some more planting areas and also to adjust the location of the book drop, which is held back there in that area as well. And we also have a handicap parking space back there. There's a couple other improvements for safety. We have a railing, we're adding a railing to the front stairs, and we have a guardrail along Library Lane and so forth. And then other general improvements, including some landscaping and creating a space on the southern side of the building, which for an outdoor classroom area for the library staff. Sean, please contribute.
Sure, absolutely. Just to spin off of that, the back parking lot, really the access, egress, and circulation, we feel that would be significantly improved. The drop off, you'll be able to drop off your books from your vehicle. We've also relocated the handicap accessible parking space that right now is out in the parking lot. So anyone using that space has to traverse across the parking lot and to somewhat of an elevated paved area that runs along the existing wall on Library Lane. It's not really well defined, so we're defining that with a granite curb along Library Lane. It's going to provide greater ADA accessibility and safety from the back parking lot. We're adding in some lighting as well in the corners of the parking lot to have greater visibility at night. And again, greater circulation within the parking lot itself for turning movements. And we've added a sidewalk that runs parallel to the library that sits at the head-end spaces along that side. There's a lot of new plantings, trees, a lot of different site improvements. The benches are going to be refinished, new bike rack, really just a lot of good-looking improvements that we see and a lot of functionality improvements, especially along the southern side of the building. We're leveling out an area that we can have outdoor classroom spaces along that right-hand side, yeah, right in there. And also leveling out the area immediately in front of, in the inner circle there, correct. So we see a lot of great improvements happening here, a lot of safety features and improvements. And I think the biggest thing is the accessibility from Main Street, coming up from Main Street all the way around to the main entrance that didn't exist or does not exist today. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions you may have.
Are there any from the board at this point? Stuart?
Sure. I guess I'm the newest one to this project. Just a couple of questions. So some of the numbers are a little small, but you're changing some of the topography here in order to make the access, the handicapped access up this around to the side of the building, and that is actually, that will end up being ADA compliant from a pitch standpoint?
That is correct. So the access from Main Street back to just about to the side of the library on Library Lane is all less than 5%. So it doesn't require a railing. And then you'll see right along at that point, you'll see a handicapped accessible ramp that will have railings, and that will be less than the 8.3% rise with a single landing in the middle of that. To bring you back to the landing in the at the main entrance. Another thing that we should point out, we're widening out the delivery drop-off space that is out at the street now to provide better access and movement around that that area and a more defined sidewalk along that side. So yes, it is all ADA accessible on that side, all the way from Main Street all the way to the back.
Because at the Main Street end, that's quite a challenge, it looks like.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very tight, but it works.
Okay, great.
We're also taking out, there's an existing step between the sidewalk onto the ramp, and we're taking that out, so it's all flush.
Okay, great. I had other questions, but do you want to talk about now, or they have further presentation?
What would you like? Why don't you
No,
ask
you
them,
could ask
Stuart?
the questions.
Go ahead.
I think probably just continue with the questions, and then we can put on other items.
The lighting, I agree the lighting could be a little bit improved. And you're proposing to use the same lighting that exists on either side of the front door facing Main Street, those lights? Is that the thinking?
Yes, that's correct. The same light pole and the same light fixture, both in the back parking lot, and we're adding 2 lights along Main Street.
And
near the ends of the
yeah, oh, yeah, I saw that. That's not, yeah, I think that's helpful. And those lights, they shine straight down.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Good.
They're dark sky compliant.
Yeah, didn't know the term. Sorry, I may have a few more because I wasn't here when they introduced this, but, so, Terry, is this building, well, is that historically registered with the?
Yeah, so it's an individually listed building. And again, you know, we've been through HPDC and Planning Board previously. We have a few more details to fill in now that we have more information. But we're not altering the building at all in this scenario. And then, you know, well, I guess I could approximate the dividing line between the, you know, so the 92 structure, you know, is from here back.
Yeah, and so the historic registration, federal, doesn't go to the site? Is it just, it's just the building?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're trying to maintain the context.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the registration of the, you know, the building. But again, we're with Jay's leadership on the, you know, the sensitivity to, maintaining that character. That's been a driving force in the design to keep, again, going way back, if you recall, there were some different proposals to move the monument, different things, but, we're maintaining a lot of key components of the view of the building from Main Street, to not change that, the location of the flag poles and those types of things. But again, still trying to achieve better access, better functionality, with people can actually walk in and see the monument, providing some additional area and seating on the wall, during events like July 4th parade, and then using that to get this, what Sean was talking about, this additional area or area the library uses right now for outdoor programming, to make it more uniform, just consistently level. And again, adding some area over here to, that balance between accessibility and, not disrupting the historic building structure.
And the removal of the monument, temporary removal of the monument, that's to deal with the topography there and the curbing along the sidewalk? Is that the purpose really of that? I mean, I know you're going to refurbish it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's going to be refurbished, but it's also going to be reset so that it will be, and I'm going to see if I can advance to in the plan view from the street.
That's it.
Is it, yeah, and Jay, I don't know if you want to speak to this, or I can move the cursor, but this is, looking at, so you hear the plaza, as Jay was calling it, so again, now, zero entry, here, no steps, nothing, you would just walk into the monument area with the same monument refurbished.
But lower.
And a tad lower. I don't know the exact, or Jay, if you even know that number, but again, it's going to probably even increase the visibility from the street of the library structure.
Right, and you mentioned that you folks went to the HBDC with these plans and they're.
We had been there a while ago, but again, we need to, and I'll refresh because we're still talking with community development on what we need to do. But there were some, again, some context, as you weren't here through the whole progression of it, there were some items with the trees that got us into doing the tree removal of 2 shade trees as part of this. And then we just have some final details. But they've reviewed the downlighting, Jay. None of that's changed, right, from
Nope.
the original application?
And the.
That's correct. It's all.
Right, and are there CPA monies in this? Do you know?
For the monument restoration portion.
Just the monument?
Just the monument.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. The couple of other thoughts or questions. The shelter over the library bin. Oh, the other thing, the library, the trustees approved of this plan and are happy with it, and yep. But the shelter over the. What was the thought behind that? I've heard a couple of comments suggest, just.
You talk about the stroller shelter?
Well, it's over the book deposit.
The book bin.
The book bin.
The book bin.
The book bin by itself is weatherproof, but what the library would like to have is a shelter that covers that book bin, so that when librarians are removing books or restocking the cart that goes back and forth, if it's raining outside or foul weather, they're not exposing the books to that weather and themselves. So we want to keep a small structure. It's a metal post, 4 posts, and a metal roof structure that would prevent rain for the people who are servicing that book bin.
Okay, maybe when you when you went to the historic business folks, did they see that bin, or did they see the shelter over it? Did they like that?
They saw a version of it. It's been refined to simplify it a little bit. That's the picture of some elevations of what those look like.
Yeah.
There's also a stroller shelter which is being located on a space near that side door along Library Lane to, to make sure that patrons store their strollers outside and so they can bring their kids inside, but then the library doesn't get cluttered with strollers.
Yeah, I like the site plan. It looks really, obviously you did a lot of work to this to make the front work, because that's a little bit of a challenge. But the structure over the bin, it looks like, I'm not a big fan of that. It looks like, a T-stop up in the South Shore somewhere. It doesn't fit the character of this community. It's got a metal roof. The pitch is different from the building. It's relatively unattractive. So, I think you cited a particular company, Austin Mohawk and Company, dealing with the building, but I would encourage a pitch that is more closely aligned to the building, to the library building, and a metal roof. I don't think it fits the character of Main Street particularly. I'm not even sure how practical in this environment that is. I know the roof at the library is slate, and this isn't very big at all. That may be something to consider in order to match the library building, which I think would just be aesthetically nicer. And then the posts that you're using for the handrail, it looks like this is the top right-hand diagram. I noticed was going to be steel, painted steel. Is that etched in stone? Or, in this environment, maybe something more of an aluminum or would be, or even powder coated, but if you want to retain the black appearance. But steel is, something you might want to reconsider.
It could be reconsidered. We were trying to match the railings that exist currently at the library along the front.
I saw that.
But we're open to hearing.
I would suggest aluminum and powder coat it, and it'll be black, and it'll hold up a little better. It lasts exactly. Because I did notice that the structure for the gate or the enclosure that's around the dumpster is aluminum, and so that seems like it would hold up a little better. And like I said, I'm not repeating myself, that structure that's over the book bin, I'd give serious reconsideration on, but it looks great. Great, thank you.
Jeff, did you have something?
I did, thank you, Dean. I think it looks great. I know that the Committee with Individuals with Disabilities is going to be extremely pleased with the increase in access for folks that are compromised in terms of their being ambulatory. So I think that's just wonderful. It is an icon here in town, and you guys have done a very thoughtful, thorough, I think, review and improvement. I do have some concern about the timetable. Is this sidewalk and ADA compliant work going to be done by July 4th? You're putting it out to bid December, January. Are we going to get this done in time for the 4th or close there too, I would hope?
Yep, I think I'll defer to Rob, and we're still
Thanks.
working out the final details of the construction
Thank you.
sequencing, but we have been discussing the various potential impacts to reduce them.
Good evening, Rob Faley, Director of Public Works. So we're envisioning kind of a phased approach. The sidewalk and the wall out front would be done first when we have the kind of the lowest capacity in town, the lowest amount of visitors in town. The library lane and possibly the parking lot in back could be done in the fall. But we're trying to get it so there's the least amount of impact to Chatham residents and visitors as possible. We know that sidewalk will be closed for a period of time. Possibly depending on the contractor's schedule, but it could be a month or two. The nearest crosswalk would be at Cross Street. The next one down would be at Seaview. So there'll be a stretch of sidewalk where we'll have signs that say, sidewalk closed ahead. But that's what we have to do for ADA compliance to make sure people are aware of their crossing opportunities, so they're not crossing illegally.
Well, it sounds like you guys are on it. You're putting construction, at least the timetable right now, is construction begins in March, so that gives you March, April, May, June. Gives you 4 months of a window to get it in decent enough shape for the 4th, that's all. That's my concern. I think the back parking lot, certainly you can wait till after the 4th and stuff like that. Anyway, but the stuff that's local to pedestrians, I think is important to get tidied up before the 4th. Thanks.
Shireen and Corey, did you have anything? Corey?
Just one small question or thought I want to throw through you. Obviously, the back parking lot has changed, which I understand the traffic pattern, and hopefully it's better use of the space. Things happen. Any thought of the spots next to the handicap spots, those 3, 4 right there? Has there been any thought of adding like a bollard to that area? Because I mean, I hate.
Oh, no, that's good.
It's the reality is things happen. It's not super close to the building, but it's not that, it's.
Great idea, Corey.
It's just a little bit of due diligence that would probably give a lot of peace,
I was going to ask about bollards and the nearness of the children's department.
No, that's been a concern. And so, and again, it's hard to see, and I'm trying to zoom in, but, and maybe Jay or Sean can chime in as well. But basically, if you look at your plan here and you can see, we have a wooden guardrail, so wooden historical looking guardrail, so similar to the one, and not that it's a great example for what's behind it, but the, on Old Queen Anne, so 8 by 8 are we landed? We have a heavy-duty wooden guardrail there.
It would be a Mass DOT approved guardrail. I think the posts are like 10 by 12. They're, the Queen Anne Pump Station. If you notice by the Village Market, it's a pretty beefy guardrail. So it's something along those lines in that area. And, cars going at parking lot speeds would certainly be enough to stop any vehicles hitting the building.
And they're timber?
Timber,
Yes.
yeah.
It may be steel backing on them, but you really
Right.
wouldn't see that from the parking lot.
Sure.
And we're adding a more robust spec in that they're, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, or if
Yes.
you can zoom in on the 4 foot on
we're
center.
adding in 4x4 posts every 4 feet.
Yep.
So essentially, that will give you that bollard effect. So there wouldn't be that gap between posts that you would normally see at 8 feet. So they're now spaced at 4 feet on center. So that we feel this is a very robust
Where are they going to be?
barrier.
Can you point out where they're going to be?
Yeah, Sean,
Sure.
if you can zoom in on the location of the guardrail, and then maybe even point out that some of that area also has
posts.
vertical granite curb before the sidewalk as well. Yeah, yep, right there.
This area.
Yep.
Right right in the parking lot side of the sidewalk in the back. I mean, sorry, the back side.
It's on the back side of the sidewalk.
Yep, let me, actually, I'm sorry.
So you're going to have a parking space with a vertical granite curb, and then you're going to have a 5-foot sidewalk, concrete, and then you're going to have the guardrail beyond that, and then plantings beyond that. And then the building is about 12 feet away.
Corey?
I'll just say my 2 cents worth. I understand that the structure that's being presented is very beefy, but you still have the parking space, a sidewalk with pedestrians, then a structure that will stop anything, God forbid something happens. So if you're going to have pedestrians in an area, my 2 cents is add a couple bollards, but that's my opinion, because you have pedestrians in play.
And we still have the wheel stops too, before the vertical curb. So that's an additional, I mean, there are sidewalks adjacent to vertical curb all over the country, especially in Chatham. And it is, kind of proven to be safe. It's not, I don't want to say it's perfectly safe, but it is a kind of a safe vertical separation for pedestrians.
I'm not going to go back and forth. I got my 2 cents worth.
What are you going to be doing about the front steps to the library, on the railing there? Any work in that area?
On the front steps of the library, there are currently 2 railings which flank on the outside of the steps. And we're going to add another railing in the same design that goes right down the center of those front steps.
Okay. Thank you. I wanted to ask Terry, and then I'm going to open it up for a public comment. I know this is off the point, but just informationally, what's happening time-wise with respect to some work inside the building, specifically the heating unit and the generator?
Yeah, so that work, again, is, let's call it separate, and we are, we've got a alternative selected. That work will be inside. The generator, we're zeroing in on locations over here. So that's work that we're doing concurrently here. So it's different disciplines than these engineers and different contractors.
Right. What's the time frame on them, though? How did you? When's that?
Yeah, so we're hoping to get that done as soon as we can. With our workload, we haven't been.
Will that have to go out to bid? Will that have to go out to bid?
Yeah, it'll actually, it will need to go out to bid with the dollar value. And we do need to get some more design work for the construction package on that.
Okay. Is any of this going to require going to town meeting for more money? Because we've had appropriations already for this.
Yeah, again, right now, and, this project will involve other funds. So right now, we're hopeful we'll be in the band we need to be.
Okay.
And again, I pointed out, we had some savings over, sort of to deal with escalation from, the overall article where we were able basically, the original 433 also included design. So we're at about a balance around 490 right now, and design's been covered.
Okay.
So we have, to cover some of that escalation, and then the sidewalk and library lane work, through other projects.
I share my colleagues' comments and compliments about the project. I think the design work is great. And I don't know if people know, Jay Lorsch did the landscaping work on the Eldridge Garage property. Am I right, Jay? You were involved with that?
Yes.
And I don't know if people know
I
Jay.
was, yes, I was.
Jay's father was George Olmsted. So I'm going to throw it open to the public for comment. I know we have several trustees from the library here in the room and online. I would invite, and the library director is here as well, if either the president or the director wants to get up and make any comment or ask any questions, or anybody, I'll throw it open. If
I had one last question, Dean.
Okay.
Terry,
Go ahead.
does the building currently have a generator?
It does not.
It does not, and
Right, and part of, basically electrifying the building, that is something that we identified that should be done as part of that. So there is no generator there right now.
when you say electrifying,
So changing to, heat pump systems in the building.
so you're changing it from whatever the current heat to?
Right, right, for natural gas. But again, there's been some changes too now with acceptance of keeping dual fuels. So it's sort of been a little bit of a moving target. So we will, most likely the design will keep some redundancy, but there is no generator there now. And as you go to more electric,
Thank you.
it's kind of a natural to have on all these buildings.
Sure.
Okay.
And I don't know if I could point out one more
Yeah, go
thing,
ahead.
just because, I think with the original graphic we had up doesn't also capture, we spoke to it, but just, again, some of the challenges here with the scope growing and, the project limits here. Also, getting this corner down, I think Stuart kind of alluded to the challenges there, and, having to do some additional design and survey work heading west on Main Street here to get the grades and everything so that this can be an ADA compliant crosswalk. And then we had to chase the sidewalk up a little bit further here as well to, again, get the accessible path. So I think, because Stuart raised that concern, it's a good concern on several of the, one of the other drawings. It has the, and Sean, you had the, and I forget which sheet it is, but you have the, not the certification, but the, all the grades and everything to ensure that we're compliant with ADA.
Tricky spot.
Right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it's challenged with that corner in particular.
So I'll just repeat, does anyone from the library board or the director wish to comment? Amy Andreasen.
Hi, I'm Amy Andreasen, the director of the Eldridge Public Library. I just want to say that we are on board with this project, excited to get it started, and looking forward to improving the safety and accessibility to the residents of Chatham. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone online want to speak? Okay, any more comments from the board? Well, thank you, Terry, thank you, Jay, and thank you, is it Kevin?
Sean.
Sean, I apologize, I'm sorry. Sean,
there
thank
we
you for the presentation, and we look forward to this project getting on the ground and getting completed. It's been a long time coming, but it's important to get it right. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the authorization of a lien on 32 Mill Hill Road, discussion and vote. So I'm going to ask Greg Berman to come forward. We have a revised version of the draft lien that has been prepared by town council in front of us. I think there's a slight change in the numbers. Greg?
Hi there, sorry, just trying to get in presentation mode. Oh, we'll get it up eventually. There we go. So yes, Greg Berman, your Director of Natural Resources. Just have a very quick few slides to kind of talk about the timeline and progress that's happened at 32 Mill Hill. We're not going to go through all of this. There's a long history at this property of violations. Back in, spring of 2024, we took another look and kind of updated the violations on the property on advice from town council, getting everything kind of in order. We then worked with town council for pre-litigation demands, which led to injunctions, then the final judgments. The final judgment did allow us to go onto the property to do the cleanup, and in addition, to put a lien on the property to cover the cost of that cleanup. We had an RFP in summer and started the contracting in September, and the cleanup began in October. There was a slight delay to allow the property owner to clean up as much as they could by themselves before we brought the contractor in. Cleanup began on the 14th of October, finished on the 20th. I believe it was about 5 business days, significant amount of progress in a very short time. And then we do need to record this lien at the Registry of Deeds, which within 90 days of the debt becoming due. So it's been 30, we still have another 60, should be plenty of time. The contractor was Eagle Eye Contracting. I think they did an excellent job. They brought a lot of equipment, which is why they were able to finish in a relatively short time. Some of the numbers involved, so about 160 cubic yards of debris were removed, over 3 tons of tires and other hazardous materials added to the project cost, and then the recycling of the scrap metal reduced the project cost for either the town or the lien that's applied to the property. Here's a few before-after pictures. So this is, I want to say, further down Mill Hill Road. Over there on 2024, this was a large area of scrap metal and other debris. And then as we cleaned up on the 20th of October, that's the view, and then that hazardous material got pulled out at the end of that day. Here's another image. You might be able to see the house on that property kind of in the middle of the picture in the upper left, and then you can see it more clearly in that lower right image, but that's the before after, and I'll just give you a little bit bigger view there. So here we are before the cleanup, and then kind of we're fading into after the cleanup. So now there is a driveway, we've unearthed steps going down. We already covered those numbers, but for the statement of account, the total is $51,000, $875.50. So talking to town council at this stage, town council has provided a statement of claim or a lien for the Select Board to consider signing. If that is signed by the Select Board, and we do have a copy that can be used, but I think it has to be in front of a notary, I'd allow the town manager office to kind of handle your signatures on that if you choose to do so. And then it would come to me, and I'd work with town council to get it to the Registry of Deeds, and happy to answer any questions.
So thank you, Greg. And first of all, I want to compliment you and your department staff, the Board of Health, your health department staff, the Chatham Police Department, the Chatham Fire Department, and probably the DPW was involved too.
And community development, I feel like was a whole town
Yeah.
effort.
Involved in this. And it was done, cleanly and without incident, it appears, so that's great. And the contractor apparently did a pretty good job here. As I understand it from the memo, that once the statement of claim is voted and signed by the Select Board, it would be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. And once recorded, the lien amount will be transmitted to the assessor's office for inclusion as a tax against the property for the next fiscal year. Does it also stand as long as it remains unpaid, that it's an encumbrance on the property at the registry, so that if properties are ever sold, that would have to be addressed by the seller and the buyer? That would be my understanding of how this would work. But
Correct. So after talking to the town assessor and town council, it kind of works like a mechanics lien, and that it stays on the property. A copy of the lien gets appended to the property field card, and then there's also a note that gets put in the file. So upon any transfer, that note comes up, and the lien needs to be taken care of.
it looks like it's added to the tax bill for the next year.
Yes, yeah, we
Technically.
Um,
I'm just reading them.
Yes.
Anyway, are there any questions? It looks like a fairly straightforward thing. We did indicate that even though we have a fund that town meeting approved, I don't remember how much was put in there, 100,000 or whatever.
Yeah, there was 150,000 in the fund, but even in that town meeting article, a lien was mentioned to potentially.
Yeah, and
those.
this money came out of there.
Yes.
If the money is recouped, it goes back to the general fund, I would assume, not directly into this fund. It's not really a revolving fund, but I suppose we could appropriate to it. I don't know.
I believe that's how it works. I'd have to confirm
Yeah.
with finance.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Stuart? And then Jeff.
Relative to the fund, yeah, it says here 150, well, you have 97,000 some odd money available for future nuance remediation projects. Are there any on the radar screen? Because that, for those people who are uncomfortable with actions like this, because this is new, really, to the town, that raises eyebrows. Is there anything pending?
So primarily, our first thought right now is if this property falls into conditions that are outside that final judgment, if a illegal scrapyard or debris near conservation areas occur again, we could go to the same property and clean it up again without having to do further litigation. So that's one thing it could be used for. This was an exceptional property that the state did come in and deem it an illegal landfill, which is fairly rare, and we did a lot of due diligence with town council. There were a lot of opportunities for self-cleanup. I think, one of the advantages of this is it didn't necessarily come out of the homeowner's pocket, so it was able to be cleaned up relatively expeditiously. But there's nothing pending right now that I know of that we're looking at for this. It's
Good.
just, yeah.
The other, so you would go back and clean up any future issues that arise on this property. All right, I guess that'll, good for now. Yeah, looks a lot nicer. Thanks.
Thank you, Stuart. Jeff?
A long timeline. Thank you, Greg. Thanks to the town staff involved. And I called out the ZBA earlier this evening, but I would call out the Board of Health. They were extremely persevering, and the Board of Health staff. They were extremely perseverant in pursuing the cleanup here because they really felt in their heart of hearts that it was a nuisance and it was a danger to the community. So really do thank them for their perseverance and their due diligence. And I would move to authorize that the statement of claim for 32 Mill Hill Road in the amount of $52,379.75 and to direct staff to record the lien and process it for addition to the tax roll.
But my
One
apologies.
revision, there's a revision in the number.
Yes.
What, yeah,
So it's $51,875.50.
okay, so as the slide says, in the amount of $51,875.50 would be my motion.
So I'll accept a second, and then Stuart has a,
Second.
okay, Stuart.
One last thing, the state determined that it was an illegal dump, right? Landfill, or,
Yes.
did they do anything?
They did come to the site and examine it. Honestly, I think we were fortunate that the state even wrote the letter indicating it was a landfill. We had discussions afterwards, and they discussed the timelines in which they could take action. We were looking at another 10 years from start to finish with that. So we,
They didn't issue any citations, or, so it's a violation of a state law, but they didn't really do anything other than write a letter?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a, yes, Brian.
For the record, Brian Phillips, 374 Orleans Road. I was just wondering, is there going to be like interest on the lien or anything like that?
I don't think that's the way it works, actually.
I'm just,
I don't know. We could confirm that with town council. Greg, did you have any comment on that, or maybe the assessors know the answer to that?
Yep, so I did check with town council. The lien accrues interest at the rate specified in the statute authorizing these types of liens until it is committed as a tax upon the property, at which point the lien begins accruing interest at the rate applicable to municipal taxes.
Okay. So it'll become part of the tax bill, and as long as it's unpaid, it accrues, what is the interest on unpaid taxes? Is it 18%, 16%?
It's pretty high. I think it was just reduced, but I think it's 12% or so.
12%.
Yeah.
so it comes on the tax bill that first year, and then they have to pay it as like a.
It's part of the tax.
Bill.
It becomes part of the
And then
tax.
so if the property owner doesn't pay 51 plus their property taxes, it then goes into, what is it, tax default or something, and then you got to pay 16%?
It's 12, I guess,
12,
12%.
sorry.
Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, it would continue, it would become part of the tax bill, and as such, as long as it's unpaid, it will accrue 12% interest. That's what I'm understanding here.
I assume he's not paying taxes either? Property?
He is. He's current with his taxes.
Oh, he is. So, okay, all right. Interesting process. I mean, we've kind of talked about the whole interest rate and how high that is.
Yeah. But as far as interest on the lien itself, we're just committing this now, so, because we just completed the work on it. So there really is going to be very little time between our vote tonight and when this is recorded. And once it's recorded, it goes to the assessors. So there's probably not going to be a whole lot of time during which interest is going to be accrued on the lien itself at whatever rate that was, statutory rate.
Oh, good. Our
That's
finance
a big
director.
tax.
Is
That's a pretty
Carrie.
big tax bill though, isn't it?
Carrie, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. The interest on tax title was reduced from 16% to 8%. That was per Massachusetts law that just passed.
But that's once it goes into tax title, right?
Yes, yep.
And that requires what type, an action from the assessors to throw something into tax title, or does it automatically go into tax title if the tax bill is unpaid?
So what happens is it stays on the taxes for a year, and then it would go to subsequent taxes. And then if unpaid after a year, the tax collector, Sharon Drown, can then put it on tax title if it hasn't been paid for a year. But you can go like 2 or 3 years, depending.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So if he doesn't come up with $52,000 for his taxes, and he doesn't pay it for a year, it could go into tax title, and he's got to pay 8%?
It could. That sounds like.
Yeah, they can.
Whenever the treasurer.
Okay, so I'm not saying that having landfill there was right, by any means. But to me, that seems kind of like an undue burden on the homeowner, and maybe something else can be worked out. Because, I mean, that seems like he could lose his property over something like this. And again, I don't agree with having
well, if there's
landfill there, but still, that's kind of, I think that's kind of extreme and possibly a little predatory.
Well, the individual is apparently paying taxes currently, and if there is a problem going forward with the payment of taxes, he certainly can discuss it with the treasurer's office and see if something could be worked out. Shireen, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, this was something, it's not a tax, it's a lien. And a lien is because this is money that's due us for services that we did. We went through due process, and I think was handled very well by the town. And, taking it to court, getting a judgment, and then taking the actions. So this is the cost of taking care of a problem. It's not a tax, so,
But it's coming in, but it's coming in on the tax bill.
because a lien will do that, yeah.
And we don't, well, I guess it's more of a question for Carrie. Carrie, I'm assuming if it goes into tax title and it's now 8% as opposed to 16, if I'm following you right, we don't have discretion on the 8%, right? Or do we?
I don't think.
No, that was just something, sorry,
Go ahead, Carrie.
go ahead.
No, you go.
That was just something that was passed by law.
Right.
So it was 16%, and it was changed as of recent legislation effective November 1st, 2024, from 16 to 8%. And I think, I don't know if we can lower it. I have no idea. I think that's
I don't
just
either.
part of
Yeah.
Mass General Law.
It's, so it's an interesting question, because I do think that, well, I think 16, we've kind of talked about this in other cases, I think. But in any event, yeah, certainly the job needed to be done. It was well done by the town, as Shireen puts it, has mentioned, but, there's always a but, the 8%, as if we're going to use this in the future seems, I don't know, seems somewhat high. I don't think it's costing us 8%, but, food for thought for some other.
Jeff?
Yeah, just I'd like to make a comment in response to Mr. Phillips' comment about predatory, or his use of the word predatory. Now, the property owner here had every opportunity to clear that stuff out many, many times. We offered, and he demurred and deferred and did not do that. But he was given ample opportunity to clear out that property himself, which would have negated all this activity. All this, we wouldn't even be having this discussion if the gentleman had removed the stuff on his own, and he didn't. So the town needed to take action, I think very appropriately did so, and I don't believe it's predatory in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.
I understand, and I agree that predatory wasn't the right word for me to use. I just think it would be, if there was just another way where he wouldn't potentially lose his house, maybe pavement plants, that's the only thing I would ask for. Thank you.
Well, as I said, he as any taxpayer who has problems paying their taxes, they can go to the treasurer's office and try to work out a program.
Okay,
Anyway,
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have do we have a motion and a second? There was a second? I think Shireen seconded
Yes, I
it.
seconded.
Okay, and unless there's further discussion, I just don't see any more public comment. I'll call the roll on Mr. Dyken's motion. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So you have it, and we'll sign it whenever it's ready. Tonight, apparently. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is to consider approval of a successor employment agreement with our fire chief, Justin Tavano, dated December 1, 2025, running till June 30th, 2029. This is sort of a follow-up to Board Member Smith's request that we implement the provisions of the charter that require that those employees who have contracts have those contracts submitted to us for approval. And this is an extension of Chief Devano's contract, so I'll turn it over to Jill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as you know, there's 3 positions in town that has employment contracts. One is the police chief, the other is fire chief, as well as the director of finance. Tonight before you is the fire chief successor agreement. It's the second agreement with the town as him as the fire chief. And in the memo, you'll see Chief Tavano's employment history with the town. Also, with this successor agreement, we wanted to first change the duration so it matched the fiscal year. As you see, we're approving it, requesting to approve it tonight for December 1st, but to go through June 30th, 2029. The other item that we looked at was compensation. We looked at the comps of our neighboring towns as well as our internal compensation, and also some of the restructuring that's been done for our collective bargaining agreements for all of them. And so what I'm proposing tonight is that an additional funding in the amount of $19,217.79 be approved for FY '27. That's July 1st, 2026 for the first year, and then the subsequent years are a 3% increase, and that will keep the chief comparable to the internal comps that we have, which is namely the police chief. And so tonight, I respectfully recommend that the board vote to approve the successor employment agreement between the town and Chief Tavano effective December 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2029, and Chief Tavano's here to answer any questions as well.
Thank you, Jill. The contract
Yes.
draft, there were a couple of largely and totally proof edits that I had called to Jill's attention yesterday, and she's made them. They don't really deal with the substance of the proposed contract. I think we all have it.
Yeah, thank you. The first contract was a probationary contract per se, and so
We took that language
what
out.
we noticed is the probationary language still remained.
Yeah, so it looks to be in order to me, and I just wanted to ask if there were any discussion at the board. Stuart?
Sure. First, I'll do both. I'll make a motion that we
Sure.
approve the contract, and then I had a couple of comments after a second.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Go ahead, Stuart.
So I appreciate the board's indulgence on this. It brings us into compliance with the charter after a long time of not being in compliance. I think that's important. Sorry, Justin, that you were the first victim, but it's the way timing works. But I think, I think we're fortunate to have Justin, and I think process. I had a few process questions, but I can talk to Jill about that at a later date. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Corey?
No, I just want to simply say that, growing up in this town, I think right now, we have a very top-notch chief and a top-notch department. We are so fortunate. The positive feedback that the public, that I hear about is, I think we can all agree with, and I think we are very fortunate to have the employees and staff that are put together as a wonderful team for the community. So I'm thrilled with the staff we have in place.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, I will echo that. I think Chief Devano does an excellent job, and I certainly am in favor of renewing his contract in the terms that Jill has described and presented to us.
Thank you. I would say the same thing. I've been on this board. I'm in my 11th year. I think we've had 4 fire chiefs in my time here. They've all been superb, and Justin continues that tradition. And as Corey said, the whole department is great, and that's reflective of the chief's leadership. And I don't know if, Justin, before we take a vote, if you want to say anything, maybe we'll take the vote first and give you the contract, and then you can say something. All right, we'll call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Resoundingly aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. You got Got it,
Thank you.
Justin. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Justin Tavano, the fire chief. It's been a fast 3 years. I can't believe we're here already, but you know, I was really, really humbled with the opportunity to become the chief 3 years ago. I remain really humbled with the opportunity again today. I'm really proud to be the chief of the department in Chatham, Chatham specifically. It's a wonderful town to work for. We have great support. We have great collaboration with all the other departments, and we have great men and women working for the department. So thank you for the opportunity and the opportunity to continue to lead the department. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have a couple of committee appointments. The first one is to the Summer Residence Advisory Committee. So there is a vacant full member position that runs through June 30th, 2026. There are currently 2 associate members, Mr. Drinkwater and Mr. Pinto. Mr. Drinkwater is somewhat senior in terms of tenure, and I did speak with and received a communication from the chair of the committee, and his desire is that the senior person be advanced to that full position. And then we have an alternate position that is currently held by Mr. Drinkwater if we move him up. And we have 3 applicants for that, which we can go into on a second vote. So I'll ask first if there is a motion to to elevate Mr. Drinkwater to a full member position.
So moved.
And that would be to June 30th, 2026, unless sooner revoked or successor is appointed.
Second.
And that's seconded. So I'll call the roll on that. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great. So now we have a position for an associate member that runs till June 30th, 2026. We interviewed 3 individuals, Mr. Robert Wood on September 2nd, Mr. Robert Goodman on September 16th, and Mr. Steve West on October 14th. So I will ask if there are any nominees for this position. Mr. Metters.
Sure. Is it nominate, or do we need to do a full motion?
Why don't you nominate first? We may have multiple candidates.
I'll nominate Steve West.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Robert Wood.
I'll second that.
Okay. Are there any other nominees? Okay, I guess I will call the roll on which of these we would then make a motion to appoint to that position. So call it in alphabetical order. Ms. Davis?
Robert Wood.
Mr. Dykens?
Robert Wood.
Mr. Metters?
Steve West?
Mr. Smith?
Stephen West.
And the chair votes for Steve West. So can I have a motion to appoint Steve West?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Stephen West to the Summer Residence Committee.
Second.
And that's until June 30th, 2026, unless sooner revoked or a successor is appointed.
Yes.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Abstain.
Mr. Dykens?
Abstain.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, so Steve West is appointed. Okay. The next item is the town manager's Independence Day Parade Committee. We have 2 vacancies, and we have recently interviewed 2 candidates, husband and wife, Stephen Alexiak and Wendy Alexiak. I'm not sure which of them wants the longer term, but I'll throw it open. We have 2 motions. Mr. Metters.
Just arbitrary because he interviewed first. I move to appoint Steve Olesiak as a member of the Independence Day Parade Committee until June 30, 2026, unless sooner revoked or a successor is appointed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I'll call the roll on that one. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Corey, do you want to make the next
I
motion?
move to appoint Wendy Olesiak, my apologies, as a member of the Independence Day Parade Committee until June 30, 2027, unless sooner revoked or a successor is appointed.
Aye. Second.
Moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, the final item on the agenda is the town manager's monthly report and the department reports for October 2025. Jill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first item, and we do have Greg Berman participating virtually, is a follow-up item on the American oyster catcher. And he notes, or he noted that the AMOY are not covered under the HCP for authorized takes. And it's protected under the General Migratory Bird Treaty of 1918. So he had provided that 2 AMOY pairs typically nest on the Chatham portion of the Nauset Beach each season and are closely monitored and mapped by town staff. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and Greg can answer them for you.
No, that was my inquiry, and Greg has satisfactorily answered it. I've never seen an oyster catcher. Maybe one day we'll go over there and look. No. Thank you.
The next item are the temporary restrictions to Barn Hill Landing. The Harbor Master's Office and Natural Resources were reviewing the bulkhead area, Barn Hill Road Landing, and following some a recent structural inspection. So the inspection noted excessive corrosion, significant segment loss, and a failing weight system that led engineers to determine that it can no longer safely support vehicles. So I know that the Waterways Advisory Committee, I believe, received a request for a waterways user fee appropriation to move this project up to get immediately addressed. And so vehicular access is restricted in certain areas. So staff is on it and looking to get it repaired as soon as possible. And a press release was also issued for that. And then he also, the tree hearing results for Kate Gould Park. There was a press release on that. Tom Barr is our tree warden, and he made a determination that one Norway maple, approximately 42 inches, warranted removal, and that they're going to review the conditions of the other 2 trees to get a second opinion by another arborist. And then he will have another hearing. And then there's some of the trees that were determined to be dead on the back end of Kate Gould Park, and that can be handled by town staff without a hearing. And then it was an exciting week last week. We did the transfer station Phase 2 Priority 1 ribbon cutting. If you didn't get a chance to go, it's really a beautiful building. We have some pictures in here, and it is such a welcome addition to the transfer station, and all of you, I know, have seen the transfer station. And I was tempted to put a before and after picture here, but I didn't want to denigrate the staff to the conditions that they had to endure so patiently. And so this is really an exciting new addition to the transfer station. We had Dave Lesher cut the ribbon there as well, and I wanted to thank the voters and the select board for your support for making this happen. And then, as you know, and mentioned at the select board meeting, that we had Department Life Saving Awards. So here in the staff report for the monthly report, it just gives a broad explanation of what the award's for. And it's really amazing that there's such collaboration amongst our departments. I think maybe 20 years ago it would be unheard of the fire department hosting awards for another public safety department or vice versa. And here it just shows the collaboration that all town departments have. So this was really exciting. And thanks to the Harbor Masters Division as well as the police. And then it's been a really great month too for grants. We had a food security grant in the amount of $730,620, and that can go towards the 90 Bridge Street shellfish propagation upweller. And also we had a grant for 1533 Main Street as part of the ongoing commitment to community housing needs to create safe, accessible, and affordable homes. And this will help ensure that the project is supported by potentially a crosswalk or signalized crosswalk on Main Street. So it's really exciting for us to get it. And congratulations to the team. Recycling, of course, we usually get a sustainable materials recovery program for our recycling dividend funds, and we'll get $6,000, which is really exciting. And it plays a vital role to offsetting some of our recycling costs. And then we have some housing news. We have the disposition of real property and sale for a house at 558 Kroll Road. This is owned by the trust, and we will be doing a lottery, so people who are interested in the house can submit by 5 p.m. on Monday, December 15th. And that's through the, I'm sorry, I just lost my place. That is through the Housing Assistance Corporation. Then the Stepping Stones Housing Ownership Request for Proposals for Developers is on the street. It's due by January 8th, 2026. There was a site walk today with one potential bidder participating. And so, again, January 8th. And then I've convened a town manager's evaluation team to review the proposals when they come in. Right now, we have Corey Metters, of course, on the select board, Carolyn McClellan, a housing advocate from the trust and the Community Housing Partnership Committee. We have Tim Smith as a local developer and builder, and then we have a property owner from the area. At this time, it's JJ Schock, thank you. And then we have Terry Whalen, who I have on all of our review committees. And so we're looking to work to get our first meeting scheduled. So, and sometime before January 8th, just as an orientation. So we're really excited about that. They'll make a recommendation to me. I'll then make a recommendation to the select board. Center for Active Living Building Working Group. Tonight, we posted the draft recommendations. There's 3 versions that the committee is working on, and an accompanying staff report as well. And so that will be presented on Wednesday, December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. For the special meeting. And I note the members in here, they've been meeting weekly and done a really great job. So there might be one more meeting next week just to do a last preparation effort for the presentation on December 3rd. And then we'll see where we go with the board's vote to proceed.
Is there a meeting tomorrow?
There's a meeting tomorrow, yep.
Okay.
And then, as usual, I have the employee anniversaries. And we have Julie Smith right at the top as our town clerk here for 31 years. So it's really exciting to be able to announce that. And Sharon Stark, our recreation supervisor, 20 years. Craig Rowe, our director of IT for 13 years. Jerome in our facilities division, Patty in DPW. James Bragdon, who's our police officer for 3 years. Kaden Quinn, our recreation assistant for 2 years, and Matt Eames. It's 1 year, and I can't believe how quickly that's gone by. And then photoed here is Rain Stevens, our newest member to DPW Parks, Grounds, and Cemetery, and we're really excited to have him. And then position availability for a DPW associate. And then the project updates, as usual, are indexed by Kathy, and they're included in the next 76 pages of the report. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jill. I very much appreciate the pictures in these reports that we're getting in the more recent ones. It makes it a lot easier to read. I think some of the individual department reports have been reorganized, and it also makes it a little easier to read. I wanted to ask about the assessing director. Where does that stand in terms of the hiring to replace Dale? She's going to be leaving in early December. Is it December 10th or something like that?
I think it's the 12th, yeah. Yeah, so the interview panel has conducted its first round of interviews, and I hope to make an announcement pretty soon.
Okay. Any comments or questions for Jill on the
Are there
report?
internal candidates for the assessment?
I can't really speak to the candidates, but I think no matter what, we'll be pleased with the appointment.
A couple of comments, if I might.
Yeah.
Are there signs down at Barnhill Landing saying you can't park any closer than 10 feet? I was down there the other day. I didn't notice them, but maybe.
My understanding was there were signs, but
Okay,
I didn't go down.
Yeah, okay, I was there the other day, and I didn't really notice them, so maybe there are, and maybe there aren't. And also, you gloss over the numbers a little bit, but, giving some more airtime to the fact that we got $1.3 million in grants
Yes.
for affordable housing and for 90 bridges, not to be unnoticed. We should really advocate, really get it out there early and often.
Yeah, they've been on social media, the main sheet as well, and then some of this is a little stale per se with our promotional efforts, but just, this is the last, I guess, location where we would announce these type of awards.
Thank you.
Stuart?
Sure. The page of the lottery for the Kroll Road home, is that a lottery that goes to anyone in the state, or is that just for Chatham resident? Do you know how that works?
I know people have to register. I just want to take a look at.
I mean, it's out of Hyannis, so I'm just assuming that it goes to a broader group.
They run the program.
Yeah, so HAC is running the lottery for the Affordable Housing Trust. And it's my understanding that that the folks that would be submitting are pre-qualified buyers, potential buyers for the property. And they more than likely can come from anywhere, but there was a local preference, I think, that we attached to this.
I can.
And I believe, so that will give it some weight to go to somebody who's local.
Well, good to see. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an independent, from the Housing Trust, and HAC knows how to do this and does it well. And as I said, everybody's pre-qualified before they can even submit their name.
Anything else, Stuart?
Very excited about this project.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, so am I. Jill, sorry, can't reference the page, but Sean Stevens?
Rain, he goes by the name Rain.
Oh, Rain, sorry. Is this one of the positions a new position, or did somebody leave? I know didn't we appropriate money for 2 new labor?
We did. I think it is.
Combined cemetery and DPW, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, it's parks, grounds, and cemeteries. Let me look back. I think it's the last position. I think we're fully staffed. That might have been, but let me follow up on that one.
Just trying to, and we chatted about, and we can chat further, Jill, about the, the employees who have left statistics. I know you're 11 of your, just a little bit further, it's town manager's office. It's under the town vision statement. You've got the meetings, these different meetings. The third one down, budget and finance policies review with the Collins Center. Fiscal 2027 department budget review meetings. What is that? Are you using the Collins Center to review town budgets? Do you review that with Kara, or is it a combination?
So we were contracted with the Collins Center to review our town's budget and financial policies. So Carrie's taking the lead on that, and we've been meeting with the 2 consultants through the Collins Center. And then I also, without them, Carrie and I do budget review meetings. We've been working through all the departments to get through their FY27 operating and capital budgets.
So the budget and financial policies review with the Collins Center, that's a separate contract, but it's for policies, it's not the individual budget.
Yes, only policies, yeah.
And is that something that comes back to the board to look at?
Come back to.
Yes,
the
it will come back to the
finance
select
Both us and the finance committee, but we'll have the final vote on it.
Yeah, on the policies.
Yeah.
And,
They need to
but
be
this is,
They need to be updated a little bit, yeah.
so this is an update on policies that you've got,
Yeah, so we have them there. They were last updated in 2019.
okay?
And
This is an
and
effort.
prior to that, it was, I think, 2012. So it's a cyclical update that needed to happen.
And do you remember what their contract amount is?
I would have to look it up for.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Just note that I know we're going to plan the agenda. We're meeting tomorrow to plan the agenda for December 2nd. I guess and December 3rd as well, because we have to post the agenda tomorrow because
Both have to be posted because of the Thursday, Friday.
Friday town offices are closed, in addition to Thanksgiving. So tentatively, we're looking at the Coast Guard Boathouse donation agreement next Tuesday.
If it's ready,
If it's ready. And the continued discussion, which Stuart had asked for, on personal care sites and emergency shelters. So that will take place. I know we have the public safety personnel available that night, so
yeah, and then we have the successor agreement for the Director of Finance, too.
that's coming up, okay.
That will be ready, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Is there, are there any other words before we wish everyone happy Thanksgiving and
Happy
take the
Thanksgiving.
final vote?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Chatham, motion to adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Dykens?
Aye.
Mr. Metters?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and we are adjourned at 7:37 PM. Good night, Chatham.